This is a leaked survey from McLaughlin and Associates, an internal survey from the Democrats, as I understand it, when John has flipped these things up, that basically found that people do not agree, by and large, with the pathology that is gripping the Democratic Party. So 89% of all voters, apparently according to this survey, think that it's important that Trump leads an orderly and peaceful transition to Joe Biden. 70% that it's very important. Only 11% think that it's not important. And voters, when voters are told that Biden will be inaugurated on January the 20th, but Speaker Pelosi wants to impeach and remove the president in his last week, 60% of all voters say that this is a waste of time and money. Only 40% agree with Pelosi. So most people don't see any need or point to impeach Trump. 77% of all voters think that Congress should make its priority this week dealing with coronavirus. Only 23% preferred impeaching Trump. Becomes even less popular the more you ask them about it. 74% of voters agreed that efforts by Pelosi and the Democrats to try and impeach the president after Biden is sworn in would be politically motivated to prevent the president from running again. And that's presumably only because Pelosi has literally said as much in interviews with places like CNN and ABC. And 65% of all voters agree that by continuing to attack the president, Biden and Pelosi are making this worse and keeping the country divided. So,
like, no lies detected.
No, it's all
based public.
Yeah, at least they can see what's going on. Yeah. Like, this isn't like, I guess they're all white extremists now.
But is it just like Nancy's got her head in the sand?
Yes, that's what it seems to be. I get the impression that she feels kind of like the walls have closed in, right? The Trump supporters coming to the Capitol.
The plebs turned up.
Yeah, exactly. They sat in my chair. They disrespected this sacred sanctum of this cathedral of democracy, or however they described it. And I think that this is driving them kind of paranoid. It's like, oh God, we need 30,000 soldiers. Yeah, but what if the soldiers? What if the Republicans themselves? Oh God, we're surrounded by enemies.
We still need to impeach Trump.
Yeah.
Why? Because we do.
Yeah, exactly. Because we need it, and it's and so. I mean, there are other bits in this survey that are very, very interesting, and I wish these were more public more often, because these are very interesting results. 80% of Trump voters and 76% of Republicans are less likely to vote for a member of Congress who votes for impeachment, and 74% agree that if Twitter, Facebook, and Google can censor and take away the president's right to free speech, they can take away the right to free speech for any American. Only 26% disagree, so 26% are not paying attention. 70% of all voters agree that big tech companies like Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, and Google, and Apple have too much power and need to be regulated to protect the freedom and privacy of Americans, with only 30% disagreeing. And the president has a 49% job approval rating in the battleground states. So in the 5 states that were being fought over. Generic vote for Congress favors the Republicans over the Democrats, 49 to 42%. Congress receives an extremely negative job rating with 72% disapprove. Pelosi herself has a 59% disapprove, and Chuck Schumer has a 51% disapprove.
Damn, so that's worse than Trump.
Way worse. Like half of Trump's. Chuck Schumer is about half as popular as Trump.
But I mean, if Nancy's got a 59% disapproval, what did Trump have? 49%?
49% approval.
So if we just assume
51.
The 51 hate him, like there's no neutrals.
Yeah.
Like he's still doing better than her by a
He's doing better than both of them, almost combined. They're combined, they're on like 60. Alone, he's on 49.
And this polling was done after the 6th?
I believe so.
So, even after the 6th, Trump's coming out looking pretty strong.
Yeah. And
at least in the polling.
While I was on their website, I had a poke around and found another poll as well. And 46% of Americans, apparently according to them, thought that voter fraud was a problem. And they say it is concerning that in this poll, where a majority of them voted for Biden, they still can't say it was an honest election.
Okay.
And what's
interesting.
What's weird is another Simpsons prophecy has come true. There was a Simpsons clip way back when where it's like, hello, I'm Tom Hanks. The US government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine. And that they've retweeted this on an article from Deadline Hollywood about how Tom Hanks is going to be hosting the inaugural TV special for Joe Biden.
Huh? Wait, so they're going to live stream this and Tom Hanks is going to be the host?
Yes. It's going to be like a Hollywood award show.
What the? Like, they couldn't have the credibility of the president and the president.
Yeah. Literally like the Simpsons one.
Jeez, okay.
So it's like, right, we need to get Tom Hanks in now. It's like, oh, I don't know about that. I've seen the accusations against Tom Hanks.
But I love that response as well. Like, no one respects us. What should we do? We'll get Hollywood to sign for us.
Exactly.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Looking forward to the call out to Harvey Weinstein in this one. But yeah, so they're going to be streaming this at 8:30 p.m. Eastern
Also, like,
time.
You know, a third of the country think we're a bunch of satanic paedophiles. Let's invite Hollywood to be our front.
It's like, okay, well, you know, they're alleged to be in on the conspiracy. But yeah, so this will be on, you know, all the major networks, presumably on the internet, where like 1,000 people watch, and it will be hosted by Tom Hanks, and there won't be any crowds. There will be soldiers, but no crowds, and celebrities, like, you know, saying thank you for being
So what are they doing for an audience? Literally no one? Or...
screen soldiers. There's not going to be any crowds there.
So it's going to be like that Star Wars scene where the guy stood there with all the troops out in front of him.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, that was ripped off of Triumph of the Will. Yeah. Yeah. It just... I'm just saying it really looks like the result of a free and fair election. Really looks like it. No... I mean, they were all like, oh, yeah, well, Trump had much smaller crowds than Obama. Well, sorry, but Biden can't have any crowds whatsoever.
Like,
Which
I don't want to make any
beneficial.
predictions, but if nothing happens on the inauguration, like, all of this seems to have been in response to, you know, empty threats.
Yeah. Not even any threats.
This is
No,
gonna
no
look
one's made any threats.
Yeah, but if there is nothing, if it turns out it's complete nothing burger, well, how's he going to look PR wise? Like, if I just called in 25,000 troops,
It just looks insane now.
Yeah, like, it looks bad already. But once we know if there's nothing happened, I mean, if something does happen, then you could say it's justified. But
it just makes them look insanely paranoid and out of touch with reality.
yeah,
But
Jesus,
anyway, there are of course snitches among us.
what?
People have been reporting their family and friends to the FBI. You may have seen a bunch of these around, where it's mostly young women, left-wing women who are
Like reporting their husbands or something?
reporting parents. Most of it seems to be young people dobbing in their parents. Very Orwellian, incidentally, which is exactly what Orwell predicted that children would do with their parents to the party. Any parents who were caught doing something would be dobbed in by their children.
Well,
and
literally did in every socialist country that's ever existed.
And here we go again. They give what I find funny about this as well, right? The parents are being dobbed in, and you know their names are going everywhere, but the people doing it get their names redacted. So you know we don't want the public knowing that they've been doing this. So Leslie dobbed in her parents. I think I realized she was this far gone. There was a sense that perhaps there was some way to reconcile. It felt like a death, honestly. It's like, well, you sound like you have decided to choose the state over your parents, which is kind of worrying. But the thing is, it's not just people dobbing their friends and family in either. It goes further. It's this sort of snitch society that is being created. Even dating apps are persecuting the protesters now. This is a report by the Seattle Times. Tinder, Bumble, and other dating apps are using images captured from inside the Capitol siege, as if, and other evidence to identify and ban rioters' accounts, causing immediate consequences for those who participated. So some men and women are, in some cases, also using the dating apps as hunting grounds, striking up conversations with the rioters, gathering potentially incriminating photos or confessions, then relaying them to the FBI.
I love the moral arbiter, you know, the guy that keeps us in count. Tinder.
Okay. Weird.
Oh, man.
Why are you doing this? But anyway, so the continual fear of uprisings and civil wars continue, which is what makes them continual, presumably. The Independent have been reporting on this. GOP talk of civil war. Warlike imagery has begun spreading in Republican circles. In northwestern Wisconsin, the chairman of the St. Croix County Republican Party was forced to resign after refusing for a week after the siege to remove an online post urging followers to prepare for war. A member of the GOP Central Committee in California's Santa Clara County appeared to urge on insurrectionists and social media during the 6th of January attack, saying the war has begun, citizens take arms, drum roll please, civil war or no civil war. It's all heating up.
That's their opinion.
It is their opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, there are definitely like local Republicans who are banging the drum for civil war. And so I can like
Yes, I mean this thing is like, how dare they talk about civil war? And I'm just thinking in my head, like,
you're occupying the Capitol with soldiers.
But also, like,
you're persecuting the opposition off of all the social media. You want to literally deperson the president. Like, where do you
Who's
think
driving this?
Yeah, exactly. Who's driving this?
Like, these guys are posting what? A couple of posts on Facebook or something like that. Like, yeah, they're really rioting up the temperature, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, this is not where, things are being divided.
Speaking of ratcheting up the terror, the terror. No, that's correct. Actually,
Yeah,
I stand by that. AOC has not only said, "Oh, they're trying to assassinate us," but she's also been demanding the resignations of Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, with many others. No, shut up. Don't you have like shoes to sell on OnlyFans or something? What, what? Why? Who? You don't get to demand the resignation of your peers. The American people elected them, and shut up.
Has Ted Cruz retweeted it and just been like, "You first"?
Oof, that would have been good. Yeah. Josh Hawley, though, they seem to be quite out of their minds about Josh Hawley. I don't really know why, because I watched his inaugural speech, like when he was in 2018 when he came into the Congress or wherever he is, and it is pretty standard republicanism, but he's essentially just laying out where he stands for the sort of countryside dwelling Americans who are just normal people for normal conservative Republican values, and the left has been screeching. There have been protests against him and all this sort of stuff, and it's like, but he's not a radical. He's not someone crazy. But I think that what they see is that he's someone who's like, no, we're not. This is where it stops. I'm not taking a step backwards. I'm stepping forwards.
He's an actual conservative.
He's an actual
which is
conservative.
their worst fear.
Exactly. And so same with Ted Cruz. He's prepared to take the fight to them. And suddenly they're, oh God, we've got to get rid of them. It's like, no, these people have to stay, and they have to be a bulwark against you. But there are of course. Speaking of AOC, she's already inspired how many terrorist attacks now?
There are 2 terrorists who mentioned her before committing their attacks.
Brilliant. So she's inspired 2 terror attacks, and there are going to be more. So this is Daniel Allen Baker, 33, of Tallahassee, Florida, faces a federal charge involving transmitting a threat to kidnap or injure. He described himself as a hardcore leftist who was angry about the siege of the U.S. Capitol, because that's what all hardcore leftists believe. The government is sacred. The former soldier received a less than honourable discharge from the army after he went AWOL when he was in Iraq, and he has ties to militia groups in Syria. So, like
I guess which ones?
The Kurdish ones, of course.
It's going to be the Antifa ones.
Yes, absolutely. He has been arrested for calls for violence. There was this seemed, just to add this in, there were bombs apparently at the RNC and the DNC, the Republican National Committee, and the Democratic one, which were apparently viable. They didn't go off.
They were real bombs, or were they?
Apparently they were. Apparently they were viable devices that just failed to go off or didn't go off for whatever reason. But I don't know who placed them there.
But if you post them at the RNC and the DNC, doesn't necessarily, or it dismisses the idea that it's a partisan side.
Unless it's both sides putting pipe bombs. I mean, I don't know.
Hashtag both sides.
Yeah. But no further investigation seems to have been done into this, and so I don't know who placed them. Just these glowing devices.
Guess we'll find out in a few years.
I guess we will. There was some. So there have been left-wing people who have been encouraging violence, and of course there was a man arrested at a checkpoint yesterday. Now I don't know why. I do know why. This guy claims he made a mistake. Yes, a checkpoint in Washington D.C. Police arrested a man who allegedly sought to pass a police checkpoint in Washington D.C. while carrying an unauthorized pass to a restricted area ahead of the inauguration with a loaded handgun and 500 rounds of ammunition. The guy claimed that he was a country boy and just showed them the inauguration badge that was given to me, and that this was an honest mistake. He was working as private security detail.
Maybe. I mean, America's a weird place. I don't know how many people have to carry around 500 rounds of ammunition, but
well,
if you like going shooting it, I guess maybe, but it is weird.
But like, with a handgun though, like a 9mm handgun probably.
Yeah.
Or like I don't know what round.
But like, if you were going to assassinate someone, I think you'd want to be as inconspicuous as possible. Like, you'd have the handgun in 9 rounds, not 500.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
How's he going to fire all 500 from his truck?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, if you're going to bring 500 rounds, you'd bring a bigger gun, or
Like a magazine. You know?
yeah, or you would, yeah, exactly.
It's got to reload 6 times.
Right, like what's the plan, right? And so this guy probably is a Trump supporter. He's got bump sticker on his truck that said, "If they come for your guns, give them your bullets first," which is based. So he probably is a Trump supporter. But I don't think. I mean, why would he be coming like 3 days before the inauguration? Like, is there a plan here?
If he had a sniper, maybe setting up.
No,
he's
just
got a
had
pistol.
A pistol, yeah. So
did almost every American, you know.
Exactly. You know, so I mean, this guy will be touted as his name's Wesley Allen Beeler. He had a Glock. I don't know what size that is, but like it's a handgun, you know. But he'll be touted as some sort of right-wing extremist, I expect, who was trying to assassinate Biden in the paranoid circles of the Democrats. And yeah, so this is the current state of play after the weekend, as far as I can tell. The Democrats going mad. Washington DC's on massive lockdown. The US looks like it's being occupied by a foreign government. Kind of looks like a sort of South American military coup has taken place, to be honest.
I mean, the optics are definitely
Yeah,
there.
optically looks exactly the same as a South American military coup.